Across Asia, frustration is boiling over, from Malaysia's bustling cities to Japan's quiet parks and Singapore's spotless subway. The behavior of some Chinese tourists has sparked an unprecedented wave of backlash, and people across the region are asking the same question. Has China lost control of its image abroad? Welcome to China Truths. Today we bring you the latest news from Asia. Malaysia. Chaos at the border. In Malaysia, patience is wearing thin. What began as small complaints about line cutting and loud tourists from mainland China has exploded into national headlines. One shocking case saw a Chinese couple fake a bomb threat just to cancel their flight, forcing an emergency evacuation and terrifying passengers. "It's unbelievable," one Malaysian passenger said. "They endangered hundreds of lives over convenience." But that wasn't an isolated case. From tourists shoving locals to vloggers mocking traditional blue rice and turmeric dishes as dirty, Malaysian netizens have had enough. They fired back online, pointing out China's own food scandals, from melamine milk to gutter oil, calling the arrogance beyond insulting. Even Chinese students in Malaysia are embarrassed. "We've become a joke," one student admitted. "People think we have no manners, and they're not wrong." Japan, when soft power turns to bad reputation. In Japan, what was once admiration for Chinese spending has turned to alarm. Tokyo police recently busted 2 Chinese nationals for using fake Taiwanese driver's licenses to dodge background checks. Investigators believe it's part of a larger network producing counterfeit IDs across Asia. Meanwhile, disturbing videos show Chinese visitors catching cicadas by the hundreds in Tokyo parks, an act that horrified locals. For the Japanese, the cicada is a cherished summer symbol. For the tourists, it was just another souvenir. Store workers report even more bizarre behavior. Tourists reusing toothpicks, stealing free samples, and opening sealed fruit trays despite warnings. "It's like they have no sense of shame," one employee said. Each act may seem small, but together, they've turned public sentiment sharply against Chinese visitors. Singapore, the spark that lit the fire. And then came the video that went viral across Asia. A young Chinese man filmed himself drinking water inside Singapore's MRT, right under a warning sign. Laughing, he said, "As long as they can't catch you, anything goes." To many outside observers, it might look trivial. But in Singapore, a city built on discipline and respect, it was seen as open defiance. Outrage spread like wildfire. Locals demanded the government rethink visa-free entry for Chinese tourists. Soon after, Singaporean police dismantled a burglary ring of 10 Chinese nationals who had flown in just to target luxury homes, stealing nearly $500,000 Singapore dollars. When 5 others were caught trying to bribe law enforcement officers, public anger deepened. "We work hard to live peacefully," one resident said. "But every crime like this pushes us further apart." From petty rule-breaking to organized scams, these incidents reveal something deeper, a crisis of behavior that's damaging China's global image. And now, the countries that once welcomed Chinese travelers with open arms are asking hard questions. Should visa-free policies remain? Should tighter restrictions be imposed? What began as one man drinking water on a subway has become a symbol of something far larger. The collapse of China's soft power and the world's growing frustration with its citizens abroad. The world isn't just watching China's rise anymore, it's watching how its people behave when they leave home, bringing with them the confrontational culture and ideological habits shaped by decades of Communist Party rule. The deeper triggers behind Asia's growing anger, control, desperation, and a broken image. Every viral scandal involving Chinese tourists now spreads like wildfire online, each one fueling frustration, deepening stereotypes, and widening the gap between China and its neighbors. What was once a chance to show cultural pride has instead become a string of public embarrassments and diplomatic strain. Across Asia, patience is wearing thin. Countries that once opened their doors are now tightening visa policies, questioning tourism ties, and quietly admitting that this is no longer about isolated incidents. It's about a deeper cultural export problem born inside China itself. The backlash against Chinese travelers and workers abroad is not random. Beneath the headlines lies a tangled web of long-standing issues, a culture molded by authoritarian control, an economy that's running out of oxygen, and a soft power campaign that's collapsing under its own contradictions. Decades of political dominance by the Chinese Communist Party have shaped a social order where obedience to authority often outweighs respect for the rule of law. Inside China, laws bend to power, not principle, favoring the elite and punishing dissent. Over time, this has created a mindset that views rules as tools to be maneuvered, not boundaries to be honored. When citizens step outside China's borders, that conditioning doesn't disappear. It travels with them. In rule-bound Singapore, one young man casually broke the no-drinking law on the subway, boasting that it didn't matter as long as he wasn't caught. This mindset, bending rules for convenience, mirrors everyday life in China, where navigating around restrictions is often seen as smart survival. But overseas, that same behavior collides head-on with societies that value transparency and equality under the law, sparking outrage and headlines. Behind it all lies a deeper force: desperation. With China's economy stalling, youth joblessness soaring, and middle-class dreams fading, many see going abroad not as leisure, but escape. A chance to survive, earn, or simply breathe outside a suffocating system. Some turn to crime or illegal work to stay afloat, from robberies in Singapore to sweatshops in Italy run by their own countrymen. In Malaysia and Japan, even ordinary travelers sometimes act out of that same scarcity mindset, fighting for small advantages, cutting queues, hoarding freebies, or arguing loudly. These aren't just isolated acts of rudeness. They reflect the psychological scars of living in a society where competition for limited opportunities never stops. Meanwhile, Beijing's years of soft power investment are unraveling. Once, the world saw Chinese tourists as symbols of prosperity and modernity. Now, scandals abroad are chipping away at that image. Instead of pride, there's embarrassment. Instead of admiration, suspicion. The grand narrative of a civilized, rising China is collapsing under the weight of arrogance, censorship, and nationalist posturing. At home, state media glorifies success stories. Huawei, luxury brands, and wolf warrior diplomats, while ignoring the growing anger, frustration, and fear among ordinary citizens. That same arrogance bleeds into how some Chinese people behave overseas. When tourists insult Malaysian cuisine, or when scammers in Japan disguise themselves as Taiwanese, these are not random acts. They are reflections of a deeper system that rewards aggression and punishes humility. Beijing's diplomatic responses only make things worse. Instead of accountability, embassies issue defensive statements, accusing foreign media of bias and urging citizens to protect China's image. Locals see this and feel mocked, as if their rules, culture, and justice systems are being disrespected. In the end, China hasn't just exported its products. It has exported its problems. What the world is now seeing abroad are not just travelers, but reflections of a society under immense pressure, carrying the weight of a collapsing dream wherever they go. In Singapore, where order defines daily life, a few defiant acts by Chinese nationals have left lasting scars. Locals now eye the wider Chinese migrant community with suspicion, and long-term residents who once felt accepted now face cold stares and distrust. The same tension is growing in Malaysia. Once welcoming to ethnic Chinese, the nation now shows rising resentment. Locals call newcomers from mainland China the new Chinese. People seen as loud, aggressive, or dishonest, shaped by the CCP's culture of struggle. The divide is deepening between communities that once lived peacefully together. Diplomatic pressure is mounting. Diplomatic pressure is rising. Each new scandal fuels regional debates over China's role and behavior. Singapore considers tightening visas, Malaysia cracks down on unruly tourists, and Japan's media frame these incidents as cultural clashes. Every story erodes China's influence, turning soft power into soft failure. The fallout also hits ordinary lives. Chinese-owned shops and restaurants abroad face inspections, boycotts, and sudden loss of business. Even law-abiding workers feel the chill as public patience runs out and hostility grows. For Chinese migrants themselves, the fallout is devastating. Those who left China chasing a better life are now paying the highest price. Workers caught in bribery scandals are deported and blacklisted for a decade. Students in Malaysia are humiliated when strangers assume they're part of the problem. In Japan, migrants pretending to be Taiwanese to escape stigma risk prison, deportation, and shattered futures. A deportation ban can erase years of sacrifice. Families in China who borrowed heavily to send a child abroad are left drowning in debt and shame. Others who remain overseas live in constant anxiety, knowing one stranger's mistake could spark backlash against them all. And the shame doesn't stop at the border. Inside China, those same scandals flood Weibo and Douyin. Some users defend the offenders, blaming foreign bias, while others are outraged, seeing it as proof of moral decline. The split is widening between nationalists who excuse bad behavior and citizens who just want their country to be respected again. Young Chinese feel the weight most. They're trapped between two realities. At home, a collapsing economy and shrinking hope. Abroad, a world that looks at them with distrust. "We can't live with dignity here, and we're not welcomed out there," one student wrote online. The emotional toll is immense: frustration, shame, and a growing loss of confidence in the future. The scandals in Singapore, Malaysia, and Japan are warnings of something far larger: the export of authoritarian habits and survivalist thinking to the rest of the world. If this continues, countries will respond with tougher restrictions and harsher punishments. Doors will close, and trust will fade.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.